This happened in May of last year. I was staying with my ex-mother-in-law for the past year while my son and I get back on our feet after leaving my abusive ex. She lives in a fairly decent neighborhood, not one of the rich ones with the HOA, but not one of the crackhead ones either. Just a simple, mid-class neighborhood. Back in March/April, there had been reports on the neighborhood site about some cars being broke into by presumably kids. Not a huge deal, and after not keeping anything important in the car anyways, we all kind of brushed it off. One night, I was feeling pretty sick, and she offered to watch my son if I wanted to sleep downstairs for the night. Grateful for the offer, I accepted and made my way downstairs. At this point, I feel like I should explain more about the layout. Upstairs is a finished 3-bedroom, 2-bath style house. The downstairs is the garage that was finished off and turned into 3 extra bedrooms. 2 of the bedrooms are off to the left, and the other is on the other side. You have to pass the laundry room and the storage room to get to the other one, which is the one I slept in. This room is completely closed off from the rest of the house. In the storage room as well, there is a door that leads to the outside. This door is kept deadbolted and chained at all times. Keep this in mind. So I climb in the bed. It's probably 9 p.m.-ish, and I fall asleep fairly quickly. The rest of this is kind of a blur. At some point during the night, I start hearing noises, which I brush off as someone walking around upstairs, and go back to sleep. The noises woke me up a few more times before I realized that they were in the room. At this point, I realized a cat must have gotten into the room. I didn't get up, but I glanced around the room as I can see almost the entire room from where I was laying. Over by the window, I see this white thing moving. At this point, I realized the cat must have followed me down without being noticed. Aggravated, I go to get up, and at that point, I realize what I'm seeing. It's not our white cat. It's not even a cat at all. It's the curtain, and someone is coming through the window. At that point, I froze. I didn't know what to do. I just laid there and watched as someone climbed through the window and stood up. He was wearing a hat and stood average male height. At this point, I can tell he was looking my way, but I couldn't make any features out. He walked over to the bed and leaned over until we were face to face. I didn't know if he could see my eyes open and scared or not. I wanted to scream or say something, but I didn't, as I knew nobody could hear me upstairs. My heart was pounding, and it took everything I had to stay still and not scream. I didn't know what to do. This man was less than a foot away from my face as he leaned over the bed. I thought about making a move or saying something, but I couldn't make my mouth or my body move. I was just paralyzed. He then just turned away and walked out the room. I heard the deadbolt to the door to the outside click. The door opened and he left. I heard him then come and close the window. At this point, I realized the noises I heard earlier were him prying the window open. At this point, I called my ex-mother-in-law as I was hysterical and scared to move. She didn't believe me. She told me everything was locked up and it was just a nightmare. I got up and checked the window to find it had been pried open. At this point, she came downstairs and the door that leads to the outside was unlocked. All 3 locks on it were undone. This was the point that she finally realized that I wasn't making this up. We never figured out who it was or what they wanted, and we hadn't had any issues since then.